Hello, everyone. Welcome back to All Out in the Open. I'm here with Ben today, and we have an open up episode, which is actually not really that much of an open up. Like this.
I've got things to open up and show people from my heart. From my heart.
This should be the exclusive episode, but there's not 5 Tuesdays in the month. So we're going to be talking about kind of our reactions to General Conference, what we liked, things that might have been hard, and just kind of like going over some of our favorite talks.
Great.
So Ben's like chomping at the bit, so go for it, Ben.
It's actually champing at the bit.
Is it really?
It is.
Well, when you're from Missouri, it's chomping.
Sorry, I'm a bit pedantic, so I just want to make sure that you know that I know.
He's pedantic.
Anyway, the first talk of General Conference was Elder Stevenson. Oh, also, so fun that we all got to learn the word apostolic interregnum.
Do you want to define it for people who may have missed?
It's when the Quorum of the 12 is leading the church because there's no first presidency.
Yeah.
So when President was like, there's no first presidency, this is an apostolic interregnum. I was like, that's a fun word that we don't get to use usually.
Kind of like an interesting piece of church history.
Yes. Yeah. So it was an historic conference, if you will. Okay. So Elder Stevenson gave us
y'all see how excited he is to talk about General Conference.
I'm sorry. I just
like, there's not even cinnamon rolls here. And you're like so gleeful.
I just love talking about the gospel. But the first talk was by Elder Stevenson. He talked about peacemaking, and I love peacemaking. And I can't remember if it was him that said this or someone else who talked about peacemaking recently that I heard. But they said that in the Beatitudes, most of the Beatitudes are like states of the heart. Like, blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. But the last beatitude, blessed are the peacemakers, is a way to be. Like, it's something that we do. And blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. That's really cool. Okay, so I really am into this.
I need you to take a deep breath.
So Elder Stevenson told the story about this family that wasn't getting along well, and the kids were struggling. And then they like asked themselves this question, which I thought was so beautiful. Is the only way to move forward to mirror that same mean-spirited behavior?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And I heard that and like read that, and I was like, I do that. Like, when I get hurt, I want to hurt someone. And I think that's my natural inclination that I don't want to have, but is sadly true. And so then they did this. Well,
it's kind of just like natural inclination. Like, our nervous systems are like, when we're threatened, we go into fight response. So it's like literally overcoming the natural man is having to regulate your nervous system, which is naturally responding.
Exactly. So the kids decided to respond to the grumpiness. He didn't say who it was. I assumed a parent. The grumpiness of this person in their house, not with like indifference or silence, but with kindness.
I bet it was a grandparent.
And it went really well, and everything changed, and it like changed the whole mood of the house. I was like, beautiful. Like, what a simple way to be a peacemaker. And then at the end, and I was listening to this morning at the gym, and I'm telling the story just to mention that I went to the gym. But he invites us to do 3 things to be peacemakers. He says, would you consider a 1-week, 3-step peacemaker plan? Listen to these steps. 1, a contention-free home zone. When contention starts, pause and reboot with kind words and deeds. Love that. 2, digital bridge building. Before posting, replying, or commenting online, ask, will this build a bridge? If not, stop. Do not send. Instead, share goodness. Publish peace in the place of hate. Love that. And then 3, repair and reunite. Each family member could seek out a strained relationship in order to apologize, minister, repair, and reunite. And darn it, when I heard that, someone came to mind that I need to repair with.
Oh my gosh, who is that?
I'll tell you later. Share it on the podcast. Charlie, it's you. We have to repair.
I'm not a family member.
No. Well, it's not just for family, but someone.
Yeah. Ew, who is mine?
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I want to be actively aware of when my nervous system says to me, oh, respond the way you've been.
Yeah, like retaliate.
Yeah. Because I want to read that question again. It was just so good. Is the only way to move forward to mirror that same mean-spirited behavior? And it's not.
Yeah.
The only way we can move forward is with Christ-like love.
What do you think the difference between being a peacemaker and like being people-pleasing is?
Yeah. When you are people-pleasing, you are not at peace.
So peace has to be required on both ends.
Indeed.
Love that. Did you just make that up?
I did. Yeah.
That's really insightful. And cut the cameras. I think we're done here.
Yeah, I think both people have to be at peace. And that doesn't mean like agreement. It just means like I'm good with you. I trust you.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Should we move on to the next topic we wanted to talk about?
Sure. Unless you have anything else to say about peacemakers. I really am so glad that's the message right now, though, like this emphasis on being a peacemaker, because it is bad out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not all right, especially on the internet. It is like so bad. And there's so much space and opportunity for anonymous bridge destroying. And like, how amazing would it be if Latter-day Saints could actually lead out in being peacemakers and regulating themselves and responding with love and compassion and emulating Jesus Christ. And like, I feel like that's what's going to make us a peculiar people. That's going to like the raising the standard, like putting the ensign on the hill, like shining your light. That is what it's going to take, especially in this current environment. And yeah, I just love that messaging.
Yeah, it's the way to be Christian. So
that's good stuff.
Jesus has been saying it for 2,000 years.
I know. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
It's a great sermon.
It's a very good sermon.
Another good sermon.
Oh,
just
yeah.
like that segue. I really enjoyed Elder Holland's talk, and Now I See. And part of it was because the scripture references that he was using was something that's been pretty meaningful for me and coming out. And I guess also I thought he was really like classy at the way he opened, like acknowledging some of the hard things with like the tragedies in Michigan and President Nelson's passing. It's always like, I think sometimes not acknowledging things and just barging ahead can feel like more comfortable for the delivery, but it really does mean a lot to acknowledge pain. And it was cool to see that modeled. Any thoughts on that?
No.
So the cool thing about this, and I'm just going to do this. I've done this on the podcast before, I'm pretty sure, but he's talking about a miracle that the Savior performed in John chapter 9 when he healed the blind man of his sight. And these verses, especially verses 1-3, were really poignant for me at one time, because as I was like wrestling with like, why am I this way? Like, why am I messed up? I read this, and just something in me told me to switch the word blind for gay, and I reread it, and it just shifted a lot. So I'm going to read that, and I'll invite the listener, like whatever you're struggling with right now, I'm wondering if like you can make that switch for you. So it says, as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was gay from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born gay? Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I think that's so powerful, that the things we see as defects can be used for Christ to perform miracles with us. And I really liked Elder Holland's emphasis on that it was spit in a handful of dirt. That was the method that Christ chose.
Read the whole quote. Read the paragraph.
The whole paragraph?
It's so good.
Which one?
Starting here,
another truth?
Yeah.
Another truth that is evident here are the instruments the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them are used to provide this miracle. Spit in a handful of dirt. These very unlikely ingredients declare that God can bless us by whatever method he chooses. Like Naaman resisting the river Jordan, or the children of Israel refusing to look at the serpent on the staff, how easy it is for us to dismiss the source of our redemption because the ingredients and the instruments seem embarrassingly plain.
Yeah. And I read that and I thought the question I wanted to ask you was, how have you seen that happen in your life?
Well, it was just interesting because I feel like just seeing like spit in a handful of dirt, just like applying that to what I just did, like switching blind for gay. I've literally been spat on, like quite literally. I was holding hands with Ryan and somebody spat on us and it was disgusting. and I'm just thinking of like the dirt that we have to get, like so much that's just like gritty that we just have to like, I just feel like, why is it so messy and confusing to be like this? But then I was thinking about how like that spit and that dirt has really refined me. And I feel like it's caused me to like what we were just saying, like learn how to notice when I'm retaliating and develop a part of me that's going to be resilient, that's going to regulate myself, that's going to really try to work towards peace and growth, even with people who don't understand or quite literally hate me right up front, just because all I am is a blind man to them. Does that make sense? And like, who sinned? What's the issue here?
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to see how with me and with some other people that I really know and respect in this space, the spit and the dirt has combined to show God's hand and to create miracles for individuals and families. And I think that's an opportunity, but it's like really humble to get to the point to be like, you know what, God, like whatever your design is for my life and however you need me to become, that's what I'm going to do. Because sometimes it's not pretty and it is embarrassing, but it creates Christ-like people.
Yeah. You know, the thought I had thinking about you was, Charlie, you're a nobody. You're from a small town in Missouri.
Yeah.
No one knew who you were, you know, and the reason anyone knew who you were was because you danced around in a cougar costume.
Yeah.
And that gave you a platform that you have grown and used for a lot of good.
Well, thank you.
And it's just really interesting that like it started because you danced around in a cougar costume.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't just like you danced, like there was a lot of work that went into that.
There was a ton of work, but it also started with like little nudges. Like it started with my personality, like the little kid at church doing cartwheels after primary. Like God was able to use that and be like, you like doing cartwheels, let's learn more.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really miraculous the way it all came together.
Yeah. You know, the thought I had, you know, how has God done this in my life? I thought about how I knew I needed to forgive my last stake president for the temp recommend situation. And so I just felt prompted, like invite him over to dinner. And so I did. And that, you know, getting to know someone is a natural thing to do. And then at the last minute, like a half an hour before he came over, I just felt like I needed to invite my two neighbors, like these two. And so I did. And I had forgotten that all of them knew him really well, really personally. And so it wasn't just like me talking to my former stake president and his wife, but they all interacted in a way where I saw him as such a person. Like, and who was like so loved by these people who I loved, who were my neighbors. And I was like, if I hadn't had that weird prompting to like invite my neighbors to dinner, then I wouldn't have seen him in the same way. You know, just like little things like that. I mean, it's not spit and dirt, but you know, things that we wouldn't have expected.
Whatever their names were.
Yeah.
There's this other line he says, it may not always be clear to us what is being done or why. And from time to time, we will all feel like the senior sister who said, Lord, how about a blessing that isn't in disguise?
Yeah, I thought that was so good.
That's funny because like a lot of the, like for me, being gay is a blessing that was in disguise. And I was able to like, I mean, how hard is it to like move through that and like remove the disguise from the blessing? But like the silver lining is there.
Yeah.
And God can really work with imperfect means in order to create something amazing. Another thought, I loved his testimony of the Book of Mormon, and I really like the Book of Mormon. It's like, it's up there for me. And it feels really grounding to me when I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like when church gets hard, the Book of Mormon centers me. So it was cool to hear his testimony. I just thought it was funny. He says, like, it's been hurled at me that the means by which this book came to me to be were impractical, unbelievable, embarrassing, and unholy. And I was like, gay? That's how people see being gay. Like, it's impractical, it's unbelievable. Like, we're shocked. It's embarrassing, and it's unholy. That's the way it's viewed. But just like the way that, I don't know, I just thought that was funny. And like, but it becomes like a rod of safety. Like it can be transcendent, revelatory, illuminatory when midst of darkness. If you really understand who you are and like root yourself in who you were created to be, it can provide an incredible source of strength.
Yeah. Love that. My favorite part of his talk was the very end where he sang the first verse of Amazing Grace. And I just hadn't expected that. And then when he started singing, I was like, oh, he's actually doing his best job of singing. And he had apologized beforehand, and it was just like so tender and so sincere. It was like I was crying. It was I just like felt it.
Yeah, you know, I joke all the time about how one day I'm gonna go bear my testimony and just start singing. I'm like, wow, this man actually did it.
And it worked. It worked. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was good. I ask as if I don't have a list. What is another talk that you enjoyed?
Okay. I loved Sister Dennis's talk. About cheering each other on. And she starts out with a story of like a 100-year-old man who was the last, like he was in last place, but he had broken all these world records for his division. And she talked about how, you know, God factors in the difficulty of our lives. Like we're not all, like we all have different levels of difficulty. And the thought I had reading this talk this morning or listening to this talk this morning was, my life has been pretty easy. Like I think most of the things in my life are not that difficult. Like I've got a great family, I've got a brain and a body that work, you know, I have a career that I enjoy. And it's just this, you know, this part of me, like being a gay Christian, that is the hard part. And I think that, the feeling I felt was gratitude that most of my life isn't difficult, so I can handle the difficult part in a way that is able to not just like make it through, but hopefully help others along the way.
Yeah. Well, and I've also wondered if some of that might be because you do a lot of teaching and you do a lot of like training and resource creation. And I'm wondering if like God knew that you needed to really see clearly what is stemming from being gay and what isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times like trauma and shame really overlaps and interlaces in ways that are really hard to untangle.
Yeah.
And like, what a blessing that you don't have that, so you can more fully like parcel out what the issues are in the community.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Then she shared this story, and I'll just read this one paragraph. She said, when I was in my late 20s, I went through a period of deep depression. And during that time, it was as if the reality that God existed was suddenly gone. I can't fully explain the feeling other than to say I felt completely lost. From the time I was a young child, I had always known that my Father in heaven was there and that I could talk to him. But during that time, I no longer knew if there was a God. I had never experienced anything like that before in my life, and it felt like my whole foundation was crumbling. And I thought that was so honest and vulnerable of her to share that she had felt that way. And I'm sure so many people related to that. It reminded me of when Elder Holland talked about his experience with depression in 2013 in his talk of like a broken vessel, and just how meaningful that was. But this was like the sadness I had listening to that story. You know, she's talking about this in her 20s. And I think we do this a lot in the church. We're like, I had a hard time, and now things are good.
Yeah.
And you know, I would love for us to have a culture where we could just say, I don't know if I believe in God right now. I am so depressed, I can't see God right now. Instead of talking about it in the past.
And for that not to be like a scary thing or like put them in quarantine, but like let's talk about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything else to share about this talk? Because I want to tie this out into the next talk.
No, well, I was just going to say that I like cheer. Anything cheer related, I'm into. So,
yeah. I mean, woo! I love when you cheer.
Cheerleading joke flips. Yeah.
And then in Elder Peter Johnson's talk, he started. Well, I'll just read the paragraph. He said, and he is Black for people who didn't watch it.
Yeah.
He's a convert. So he said, early in my missionary service, I learned that there was a period when those of Black African descent were not allowed to enjoy all of the blessings of worshiping in the house of the Lord. When he said that, I said to my friends, like, oh my gosh, he's going there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure I'd really heard about the priest and temple ban talked about in general conference before, or if I couldn't think of a time.
Which also was like a ban on sealing. Like I don't know if people always realize that means like Black families couldn't be sealed.
Yeah.
Like there was no exaltation in the doctrine for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was very, very hard things. So he mentions this reality, then he goes on to say, learning this for the first time brought feelings of anger, confusion, doubt, and fear. Like I'm just so glad he was so like anger, confusion, doubt, and fear. And then he says, these feelings were so intense that my ability to recognize the Holy Ghost was lost for a season. And he goes on to say, fortunately, I had a wonderful missionary companion, Kevin Vick, who ministered to me with love, patience, and kindness. Each night, as he witnessed my feelings of doubt and uncertainty, he would simply say to the younger Elder Johnson, I love you. After about 2 weeks, I allowed myself to feel Kevin's love. I gained the courage to pray to Heavenly Father in the name of Jesus Christ. And like, his story was not about the priesthood and temple ban. It was not about that. It was about a time that was really hard for him where he couldn't feel the love of God, and he felt it through someone else.
Yeah.
He felt it because someone loved him. And like, as much as I would like love a talk about like, well, let's talk about the priesthood and temple ban and what that was like and how that affected people. What he was really saying was, we are blessed when people look out for the one. And sometimes there are people who are suffering who can bless us. And once again, like, I would just like love if we could, if someone could say at General Conference, like, this thing doesn't make sense to me, and it's hard for me to feel God's love, and not just like this. There's a thing that happened and it's all okay now. And I'm not sure he would say it's all okay, but that's kind of the impression we get. Like, it was hard for those 2 weeks, and now I'm good because someone loved me.
Yeah.
And so I want to be the kind of person where, and I was sharing these thoughts with my friend Heidi recently, and I was like, is our culture like that where we can't share what's actually going on right now? Like, we have to wait till it's over and like share it as like with a nice bow on it.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I think you're right. And then she said, I think sometimes we skip the mourning with those that mourn and go right to comforting. And I think like, I want to be the kind of person where if someone is suffering, I want to mourn with them.
Yeah.
And not just like give them the answer. Because that happens to me all the time. Like, I'll say something like, oh, this hard thing is going on. It's like, well, here's your answer. And I'm like, well, that's not what I need right now.
It's like leaning into that Holy Saturday that like Christ is in the tomb and we're devastated.
Yeah. Because the truth is, like, all of mortality is Holy Saturday. Like, all of mortality is where things haven't worked out yet. And Elder Holland said in his talk, he said, like, when mists of darkness have come in the past and when they will come in the future. He was clear. It's like, we're going to have hard times in the future. And what if we're having hard times right now? And well, what if that was the response? Like, I love you. When I think of like people, like when I've brought my anger and fear and sadness to people and they've said, oh my gosh, like, you're kind of freaking me out. Like, you're angry. Are you going to leave the church? I'm like, cool. But when they say, hey, I love you. Like, what if our interactions and our conversations were rooted in that? And I've like, that's what God said to me when I brought him my anger and fear and sadness. He's like, hey, before anything else, like, I claim you. I love you. You are mine. Then it's like, oh, there's space to be me here. And what if that's how it always was? Like, what if that was the culture we create in the church? Yeah. And to be fair to people, like, it's scary when someone says, I don't know if God is real right now. Like, that's a scary thing. Like, if believing in God and like believing in the church is like so foundational to like your whole life, and someone's like, I don't know if I believe this right now. Like, that is scary. And we just want to fix it. We're like, no, it's all there. Like, God is there. Like, I promise. And we can say those things, but I think like Elder Johnson said here with his mission companion, Kevin Vick, you just say, I love you, let's talk about this. And trust that it'll be right as we go to God about it.
I also love that in this talk, he almost like defined allyship. He said, like, we learn from Jesus Christ the power of ministering to the one with love and without judgment. And I'm like, this is a man who gets it, who has been judged for something he can't control. Yeah. And he understands the importance of love and non-judgmental space as you're just developing. And it literally is, it's just mortality. Like, we're all trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Yeah. And like, why not give people space to be honest and to use their agency and to like actually come with like full intent and full purpose of heart, rather than like feeling like they need to fold themselves up and package themselves correctly in order to be accepted. Like, I'm so done with that.
Yeah. And the thought I had, like a corollary in my life is when the November 2015 policy happened that said that, same-sex couples who had children, like their children couldn't get baptized, and there'd be a mandatory disciplinary council for members in same-sex marriages. Like, when that came out in 2015, like, I had just started like speaking in wards and sometimes giving firesides. And then that policy was reversed in 2019. And so sometimes I would speak and people would ask me about this. And it was really hard to talk about while it was currently happening. What I would say is, I've prayed about this and I haven't gotten a confirmation that has it make sense to me, but like, I trust that God is at the helm and it'll all be okay. I would talk about it like that, but it was hard to talk about what was happening. And then once it was all done,
because then you're dangerous and it's like, oh, we can't invite him back.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to like prove your allegiance, it's almost like you have to prove certainty instead of faith. Like having faith isn't enough, because faith is so intertwined with doubt. They're two sides of the same coin, because faith is like working to develop the perfect knowledge, but it's almost like you have to claim perfect knowledge and perfection in order to be worthy to have your voice heard. And I think that's a huge issue in our culture.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's why I'm scared of you, Ben.
I'm a scary person. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So when I wrote my book, there's a whole chapter in my book called The Policy, where I talk about the policy. And if it hadn't been reversed, there's no way Deseret Book would have published that. But I could look at it as a retrospective. And I've learned, like giving firesides, that I would tell a story of me in the past expressing how I feel now, because that removal made it feel more palatable. Like I was talking to my friend, these years ago, when I said, it's so hard that I have to choose between being in a church that I love and being with someone that I love. Like, why do I have to make that choice when straight people don't have to? But I said it like as old, like former Ben,
right? And
that was palatable. But if I got up there and said, this doesn't make sense to me,
this is where I'm at. Yeah.
Then that wouldn't be palatable to people. And so it's just hard that I feel like we need to talk in a way of certainty, like you said, instead of a way of faith.
Well, I wonder how we change that.
Like, we model it, perhaps. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we're trying to, but even there's some things that like I feel like I can't share, or also, and again, it's hard to be like viewed as teetering on the edge. Does that make sense? And like it's difficult to be viewed as like fragile or like potentially dangerous. Like people are like really like hyper aware of everything and like make assumptions. I don't know. That's something I'm going to think about. Like, how do I, as a member of the church, work more to change that aspect of culture that I don't see lining up with the gospel?
Yeah, definitely. And all I have to say, I am so honored that like Sister Dennis and Elder Johnson felt comfortable sharing these hard moments of the past. And I'm sure there were many people who related to that and like felt the spirit and were like, and felt seen. So who are going through those things now.
It felt new. Like even listening to him say that, I was like, he's doing it. Like it was refreshing to me. And I'm not Black. Right. And like, I just like imagine how much more refreshing it is for someone who was more impacted to hear like I'm represented, like I'm valid. My feelings, my conflict around this issue is valid. It's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else to say about that one?
I'm good.
So I real quick, just briefly want to touch on Elder Uchtdorf's talk. Love that he's returning to his airplane roots.
Oh, can I tell you the thought I
had? You're like, again?
So sometimes people are like, Ben, why do you talk about being gay so much? Like, you're a child of God, you're not gay. I'm like, well, why does Elder Uchtdorf keep talking about being a pilot?
He's a child of God, he's not a pilot.
Yeah.
Because it's important. It shapes your life experience.
Yeah, like his life is being a pilot, so it doesn't matter.
And his view of the gospel is like influenced by his professional training, and I feel like that happens to all of us. Like we understand based on the skill sets and the education and understanding that we have, and so it's just like a language to be able to learn gospel truths. And for you and for me, like being gay has been a language to learn gospel truths. Exactly.
And no shade on Elder Uchtdorf. Like I love his pilot stuff. So
yeah, I'm like, he landed the plane, we're good.
It was a simulated plane.
Yeah. I really liked him saying discipleship takes self-discipline. And I feel like there's a way to read that that's like stressful, like I have to be disciplined. But there's also a way to read that as in like, I can become more disciplined in how I reach for Christ and work on honing myself into a disciple. And I just think that's true. It's not a casual endeavor. It doesn't happen by accident. It really takes effort, but it's always effort that brings reward. And there's always like marginal steps you can take towards that effort. So he's not saying like perfection takes self-discipline, but striving to be a disciple takes effort. But it can be just like these small, subtle changes. And if you're actively thinking about it, God can work through that and create something really amazing and build a faith that is strong.
Yeah. And one of the thoughts I had was, if I do something simple, like self-discipline, like making my bed every day with something simple and easy, that will then help with self-discipline in other areas as well. That's what I felt for me.
You know, I used to make my bed every day and I was like super adamant about it. But these days we have so many throw pillows, and like Ryan, and also with my help, I'm not innocent in this. We have like crafted like a Martha Stewart Better Homes and Gardens. Like there are like so many duvets and throw pillows. I'm like, this takes 15 minutes. Whereas before it was just like, there's my pillow, like throw my blanket on. And so maybe I need to work on that.
I have the same problem. I used to make my bed every day. Like for years, I made it every day. I don't make my bed anymore. And I'm going to start doing that after reading the talk this morning. But I only have 2 pillows. It would not be that hard. One to sleep on and one to cuddle with.
We live in a studio apartment. And so like with anyone comes over, like it feels like it has to like not feel like that's our bedroom. So we just like created a showpiece. It looks like a showroom.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't always look like a showroom. Have you seen it? Messy. If someone's coming over, like I try really hard.
I think I've seen it messy. Yeah.
What a mess.
I've definitely seen it messy.
Another thing I liked about this was just him like sharing how everyone's blessed with gifts, and like
also, Charlie, you guys have posted pictures of your messy apartment online. Like everyone's seen it messy.
Yeah, but it's different to like be in the physical space.
Okay.
There is enough like disconnection with posting a video that like the embarrassment isn't there, because it's like y'all in on the joke. But if someone comes over, I'm like, oh my gosh, my house is a disaster, and it's just because we have 37 throw pillows everywhere and no floor space.
You need a showpiece.
Yeah, we do.
What if a showpiece was more simplistic? Like instead of having 36,
then it's not a showpiece.
No, but there are some architectural styles and like decoration styles that
we
are
live in
more
a very
simplistic.
traditional home. I understand you. I hear what you're saying, but like you have to match the style anyway. Well,
Okay, all right.
just you're not a design gay, and that's okay.
That's very true.
I don't know about rides at Disney, and Ben doesn't know about interior design, and that's fine.
We're all different parts of the body of Christ. We're all eyes and ears.
A side note, when I did go to Disney for the first time, I was with Ben, and he ruined every optical illusion.
Whoa. Yes, I did.
He was like,
But
fun fact, that's not real, and here's how they're doing it. And I was
Okay.
like, oh my gosh, Ben, let me try to be a kid.
Okay, Jared also ruined things, but yes, I did ruin the experience.
Anyway, I liked that he had this little section where he says contemplate whether you've been blessed with one or more of these gifts, and he just listed some gifts, and it was fun to like contemplate the things that like I do not have and maybe want to work on, but other things that have really come naturally to me or that my life experience has just organically developed, and that was just cool to contemplate.
I love that.
I read compliment because one of them is giving sincere compliments.
You're good at that.
I feel like I thank you. How dare you? But no, like when I was in high school, I just was like, you know what? Anytime I think something positive about someone, I'm just going to tell them.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes that puts me in, especially when I lived in New York City. I was like, hello, stranger. I like this about you. And I definitely like learned when you're complimenting a woman to just like ham it up a little bit, like, you know, like yes queen it a little bit, so she's not like you're creepy,
Flip your wrist a little bit,
like your nails, you know. But that's, I don't know, I like that about me. And but also like my compliments, maybe I could get better at like I don't know, it has to be sincere, or else I like can't compliment someone on something I'm not impressed by.
Why would you give an insincere compliment?
To make someone feel better, Ben.
Oh,
about the thing that I hate about them. Just kidding. One more quick thought from this talk is he said, we know our efforts alone can't make us celestial, but they can make us loyal and committed to Jesus Christ, and he can make us celestial. And I think I know a lot of people who like the think celestial concept was difficult for them, because they're like, how can I think celestial when the celestial kingdom is unobtainable for me?
mm-hmm.
Like people feel like they've been born or created outside of the plan of salvation.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really difficult. And I really like this. It feels like a subtle reframing to me of like, Jesus Christ is the one who exalts us and makes us celestial. So think Christ-like.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it just goes back to what would Jesus do?
Yeah, but also like lean on him and his power and his grace,
and that's thinking celestial. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes I don't know, I like that, like not focusing on like my personal destination, but focusing on the person who's going to who makes my salvation possible.
Yeah.
And that feels a lot more sustainable and like attainable to me.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So can I tell my story about President Oaks' talk?
Yeah.
So I watched conference on Sunday with some friends up in Heber. So I had to drive through Provo Canyon. And so we watched the first session of conference. We ate cinnamon rolls.
I'm glad you got those.
Yeah. Then we hung out between sessions, had lunch, had a great time. And the second session started, the afternoon session. And I knew that President Oaks would be the concluding speaker. And about like 30 minutes in, I was like, I have to get out of here. Like, I don't know how I'm going to respond or how I'm going to react to President Oaks talking. And
well, tell me why.
Because I wasn't sure if he would say something that was like really painful for me, and I didn't want to put on a happy face if I was like sad or like hurt.
Yeah.
Because President Oaks has said things.
You can only say that it used to hurt.
Yeah. Right.
It can't hurt you in the current moment.
Yeah. But also like they have teenage kids, and I didn't want to be like, oh, general conference is complicated for me. You know, I didn't want to like let them live in their simplicity. You know, that's what I was thinking. Maybe that wasn't the right approach, but that's what I was thinking. So I left their house, and I was like, I'm just gonna.
Ben doesn't think teenagers should be nuanced, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I mean, they're like,
you're fine.
Okay.
We get it.
So I listened to the last part of conference, just like on a walk in Provo Canyon. I just like was walking the Provo River Trail, and it was gorgeous. It was fall time. And once he started talking, I like had a very mild panic attack. Like I just couldn't catch my breath, and I was really nervous. I just like started praying out loud. I was like, Heavenly Father, like just help me through this. Like it's like help this be okay. Like because it was really stressful for me. And then it like ended up being okay. I feel like I was like I had an overreaction that was related to things that had happened in the past. Yeah. How was listening to the talk for you?
A little bit similar, but to a much less extent.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then just like reading the talk today, he is such a lawyer. There's like point 1, point 2, point 3. I was like, this is very lawyerly. But you know, as he was talking, I was just so struck that he got emotional.
Yeah.
And this is the part where he got emotional. This is what he said. So he's 7 years old, and he had just learned that his father had died. And he says, I ran into the bedroom and knelt beside the bed, crying my heart out. Grandpa followed me and went to his knees beside me and said, I will be your father. That tender promise is a powerful example of what grandparents can do to fill in the gaps when families lose or are missing a member. And, you know, that was 85 years ago. And it was honestly deeply meaningful to me that moment from 85 years ago, like there was still pain there, like from the loss of his parent, and also gratitude for the people who stood in for his missing father. Yeah. And I just like it almost like gave me permission to like I can keep being sad about my mom. Like I don't ever have to be okay with this. Like I don't ever have to be okay that she's gone. I don't ever have to be like, I can always be sad about this. And I was just really glad that he was emotional and like showing that vulnerability. And then the immediate thought I had was like all these people who have stood in for my mom. And I wrote a blog post that I shared on Mother's Day called The Other Moms, about all these women who have stepped in and done things for me when like my mom couldn't, like the things she would have done. And I just like, I was so grateful that his sharing like brought to mind like permission to mourn, but also gratitude for the people in my life.
Yeah. It was also a very humanizing moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt, different. It's not like expression I've ever seen. And I mean, he's been an apostle for a very long time. I wonder how many hours combined I've seen him present. But I was like, oh, this is softer than I expected.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was meaningful to see that softness.
Yeah. Fun fact, he was called to be an apostle 2 months after I was born. So he's been an apostle as long as I've been alive.
Wow.
Which is a very long time.
Yeah, it is.
Been alive forever.
Was anything about his address difficult? Or did any of it like give you that?
Honestly, it didn't. Because, he talked a lot about the importance of having children. And I just have kind of like in my own mind, like, well, it doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't that part wasn't triggering to me. How about for you?
It was interesting because I was thinking it as in terms of like my family, like my own family, my parents, my siblings, my nieces and nephews. And it was actually really nice to be able to like reflect on how important like that opening statement, like the doctrine of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints centers on the family. Like I have a family and I'm centered, like we have faith and we believe in Jesus Christ and we are like trying to emulate this and strengthen our family unit. And so I was looking at it through that lens and it was cool. I liked it. There were a couple times like, especially like talking about how like married, like childbearing rates are decreasing. And I was just like, I have some dear friends who are really struggling with infertility and that's been hard for them. And my heart did go out to them because it did feel very matter of fact, like you need to have children. And I was just like, I hope they're okay as they're hearing this, because that could be really painful.
Yeah, that's a kind way to respond.
But then there was other things like I'm also thinking of like my family has a gay person in it. Surprise. It's me. And
your husband is also gay.
And my husband is also gay. So there's two of us. Wow.
A family of gays.
That's funny. But there's this part about like families struggle together in pursuit of a common goal. And I see LGBTQ families do this. And I think a lot of times currently and in the past, the family proclamation and talks about the family has been like used as a way to like what's the word I'm looking for? Delegitimize gay people or families with gay people in them. But like this is our family. Like my family has struggled together in the pursuit of a common goal to figure out what this looks like for us. Mm-hmm. And like, that's a doctrine and a teaching that we're living by. Yeah. And I think that's a teaching that LGBTQ families kind of have to live by. Uh-huh. So I thought that was interesting. And I guess like the line that LGBTQ families or people with a queer person in it, like families with a queer person in it, of the proclamation that people always focus on is like, well, you have the whole thing memorized. Give me the exact line. Like the circumstances. So like,
I actually don't remember.
Oh my gosh.
I memorized it, but didn't stick super well.
Well, like some families have different circumstances and they need to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, circumstances may need added. I don't remember.
Yeah. And so everyone's like, we are holding on to that line. And it was really interesting to see the president of the church talk about that line and expound on what that line looked like in his own family. Yeah. And that was something I just never really seen either.
Yeah. And it was interesting because one of the things that's been hard for me about the family proclamation is it feels like a proclamation of like parents. Like it's mostly speaking to parents.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
or single people.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, where am I as what's my role as like a son, or the role of like an uncle? And it was interesting. It's like, well, here's the role of a grandfather.
Yeah.
And I loved that implication.
Yeah. He said the perfection we seek is not limited to the stressful circumstances of mortality. And again, it's just like nodding to that one line that so many people with non-traditional families, for a multitude of reasons, like hang on to. And they're like, I hope I'm represented in these teachings because of this line. It felt like it made some more space for that, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
And then he said, our Savior Jesus Christ is the ultimate role model. We will be blessed if we model our lives after his teachings and self-sacrifice. Following Christ and giving ourselves in service to one another is the best remedy for the selfishness and individualism that now seem to be so common. And I was like, that's something that anyone can do no matter what their family looks like. And it really, like, it's connecting to everything else we've talked about, but there's these simple principles. If we follow Jesus Christ, like that's who we hitch our wagon to, it's not like a teaching or a doctrine. It's like we hitch our wagons to the Savior, to the Redeemer. And if we're doing that, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
I also liked the subtle push away from consumerism and just like spending so much time wrapped up in buying things and being on screens and stuff.
Yeah. Like he said, what kids want for dinner is time with you.
Yeah.
I was talking to a parent who has adult children now, and she said that this talk was hard for her because, President Oaks mentioned things that parents should do. And she's like, I didn't do those things. It's too late now.
Mm.
And, just that sense of like, well, I lost the opportunity to pray morning and night with my family. I lost the opportunity to like go camping with them, and I think that in families, there's a lot of pain. And so I, of course, don't want to tell anyone like what they should or shouldn't do in their families. But as I heard that talk, and, speaking of non-traditional families, the thought I had was that I needed to spend more time with Charlotte.
Mm.
This woman I'm not related to, but who I've lived with for the last 7+ years. And sometimes like my house just becomes like a place that I sleep because I'm out and about doing so many things. And the thought I had was I need to spend more time with Charlotte. Like she's important to me. She matters. And she's my family right now. And I realized, and I thought about all the times like we'd been doing like the Come Follow Me reading, and I'd just be like, she'd like be off doing something, but like talking to me, and I'd just be like scrolling on my phone and like half listening. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like that's so rude.
Yeah.
And that line, I think he might've meant it to be a little catchy, was, families turn on when technology is turned off. And the main thing I got from that was like, I want the people that I love in my life to be the focus of my life.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the focus of my life to be my job or TV shows I like, or going to the gym. Like I want the focus of my life, and my life can include all those things.
That in.
Yeah, but I want my life.
Tell everyone you go to the gym.
Right, yeah. But I want my life to be about these people that I love, and these people that I care about, because those are the things that are going to go with me.
Another thought I had on this is, I hope I can say this in the right way, but being different, like being gay, like sometimes even thinking of the family proclamation, it's just like anti-gay, like church hates me, like that's what it feels like. And even to see it like on the wall in someone's home, it's like, oh, these people disagree with me and think I am gross, like there's so much wrapped into that. It's very interesting because the next week we went to church, and it was Fast Sunday, and most, if not all, of the testimonies were about the family proclamation and general conference, as was second hour lesson. And it was so fascinating to watch. No one took it as an anti-gay thing. Mm-hmm. Like it just like for us, when like President Oaks is about to speak, we're like, oh my gosh, he's going to throw down and people are going to hate us. Mm-hmm. But everyone else was like, I need to stop scrolling on my phone when I'm with my kids. Like everyone was thinking about their own individual families, and we're in the ward and we feel loved. And it was just so interesting. Like no one was even thinking about being gay in conjunction to the proclamation. And there was a gay couple in the room. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that was just kind of like an interesting reality check for me of how if it's not like something that can hurt someone so much, really can be a help and a guide to someone else. And I would love to see, and I do believe there should be like more space and compassion around things that are painful. But I just like and again, I hope this comes across the right way, but just a note that if someone is talking about the importance of the doctrine of the family, that doesn't necessarily mean that they hate gay people. A lot of times it means they love their family. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And hopefully, like when I go to my brother's house and I see the proclamation on the wall, what that means to him is, Ben is a part of my family. Like we love him. We include him. We'll watch out for him.
Yeah. And we'll see how it goes, but
if my brother loves me.
Yeah. We're going to ask, maybe he's the one you have the issue with.
It's not.
But yeah, it was, I don't know. I felt peaceful after conference, and it was nice.
Yeah, I did too. Also, can I say one thing about temples?
Yeah.
So like maybe
he was like, there are too many.
So like maybe 3 years ago, I was watching with some friends and like, is President Nelson going to announce more temples? I was like, he can't keep announcing 10 every time. Like that's too many. They can't build them that fast. And then he said, I'm going to announce 20 temples. I was like, what? I was like, this can't keep going on. And then it kept happening. And so when he said, we're going to pause announcing temples and we'll slow down like the announcement of temples, I literally said out loud, duh.
Like you had the right sentiment, wrong prophet.
Yeah, I was like, yes, build the ones we have. But I do love the temple announcements. So I hope they keep happening, but like a couple, like a reasonable, like ones that we actually have the capacity to build.
Oh, that's funny. Any final thoughts on conference?
Well, I mean, it's like almost 10 hours of material, so there's a lot to.
There is like 1.5 sessions that I haven't listened to or read yet because I was just life.
Yeah,
I was busy that weekend, but
yeah, my
maybe I'll be triggered. I'll go back and listen.
just one more thought. There was I think it was Saturday evening session. They had like an international choir, and they all had pins with the flag from the country they're in. That's cool. And like the first one they like zoomed in on was like someone with an American flag. I was like, oh, patriotic person. And then they showed all the other. I was like, oh, they're all wearing the flags from their countries, and they might have announced and I missed it. But it's like so cool to see like the global reach of the church. I just really love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you are more excited about conference than you are about cinnamon rolls.
The cinnamon rolls were delicious. I had too many, clearly. Yeah, that's all I got. So grateful for conference and grateful for the good experiences I had.
Yeah, me too.